Hey, man, you looking small. What you mean I'm looking small? You looking small. Like, it's just that, like, you gotta really hurt that dude to turn him away and to try to stop him from doing what he want to do. So, skillful, yes. But this and this.
Yeah.
Fighters are scared of Terence Crawford, and it's for a number of insane reasons. Roy Jones Jr. even mentioned that Canelo looked nervous standing across from him in their face-off. What makes Crawford so frightening isn't just his skill, but the way he stays eerily calm while reading an opponent's every move. He rarely gets hit clean, and he punishes every single mistake with perfect, devastating timing, leaving his opponents feeling like they have no way to win.
I mean, Terence Crawford has had an amazing career against a lot of very good fighters and world-class fighters, and honestly has barely lost a round. When you look back at Bud Crawford's career, there is something really special.
I say there's nothing to do, but damn, like, I mean, what else do you gotta do? he's a three-time undisputed champion.
Paulie Malignaggi highlighted how Crawford has built one of the most remarkable records in modern boxing. He became an undisputed champion 3 different times, something almost unheard of, and he did it by facing the top names rather than taking easy fights. What impressed Paulie the most wasn't just the wins, but the way he avoided punishment, rarely getting hit while dominating his opponents. His record speaks for itself. 41 wins, 31 knockouts, and 0 losses. Paulie described this run as historic and pointed out that Crawford's recent triumph over Canelo signaled more than just another victory. It felt like the start of a new era.
And that stare down that we talked about when I told you either he's not ready for this or he trying little boy Bud. He wasn't trying little boy Bud. He really was afraid, well, not afraid, but he was worried about Bud. And Bud knew that. And Bud being the older guy, Bud kind of looked him in his eye and made him turn away first. That was a victory for Bud. That was Bud's first victory. Anytime that happens, if something else don't come around or something else don't happen to undo that, you got a problem.
Brian Custer expressed how extraordinary it was to watch Crawford against Canelo, pointing out that he had rarely seen such a perfect balance between defense and offense. In most fights, a boxer excels in one area while leaving the other vulnerable, but Crawford showcased both with remarkable sharpness. Against Canelo, he proved that he could not only neutralize attacks with his tight guard and slick movement, but also switch into a punishing offense instantly, capitalizing on every opening. This complete package is what makes him different from so many other champions.
Flawless. I mean, Terence Crawford has had an amazing career against a lot of very good fighters and world-class fighters, and honestly has barely lost a round. When you look back at Bud Crawford's career, there is something really special. It's one of those things now, because now I've now seen back-to-back generations of Floyd Mayweather and Bud Crawford, and man, you know, it's one of those things where now I understand why the people that lived in the Ray Leonard era say, you know, oh, wish we could see Ray Leonard against Mayweather and how that would be. Because it just leaves such an empty feeling when you have such special fighters that were in different generations, and you saw both of them. You know, I saw the entirety of the Mayweather generation. I saw the entirety of the Bud Crawford generation. Just incredible. Really, really incredible. And I know Mayweather gets a lot of hate, but for me, he's a tremendous fighter. And Terence Bud Crawford is in that realm as well. And it's a fight we'll never get to see. So what are we going to do, you know? It'll be up to the fantasy fights, you know? But let's get into it, man. I want to get into the undercard as well and some of my thoughts on the Netflix show. But let's get into the main event first. Crawford really boxed very, very well, very, very intelligently. The question mark was what happens when Crawford gets hit cleanly. I'm not sure he got hit cleanly the whole fight. You know, he got hit with some partial shots. Some shots landed cleanly, but by the time Canelo started landing anything cleanly, I think he was hesitant because he was getting countered so much that he was taking some of the steam off the shots in order to hope to be more accurate. Because even late in the fight, there were a couple of shots that Canelo landed, but they barely moved.
Andre Ward, a master technician in his own era, gave Crawford the highest praise, calling him the most skillful fighter among his peers. He highlighted Crawford's mentality, saying that if he sets his mind on achieving something, he will go to any extent to make it happen. According to Ward, the only way to stop a fighter like Crawford is to truly hurt him, because tactical tricks alone will never be enough. His adaptability and ability to think under pressure put him in a rare category of fighters who can impose their will no matter the circumstances.
See, I think that for me, I watch defense
as much as I watch offense. So
Yeah.
like I thought like watching Bud catch those shots off his glove,
He looked amazing.
so amazing.
Yeah,
to
he looked good.
Yeah. He'd
looked
go to a
great.
body and he'd catch that and come up with an uppercut. You know, just all those things that
He
seem.
looked great.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody do that to ever.
No one has. Yeah, he's the best.
Canelo.
Yeah,
Ever.
he's the best.
And I think he would do that to Canelo on his best day. His way. And Canelo said it. He goes, I couldn't figure him out,
No,
which is why he probably won't fight him again. In a way,
they'll fight again.
you think so?
The payday. Yeah, but so you're gonna get Canelo because the money's in Canelo Crawford, the rematch. I don't want to see it, but I want Crawford to get paid, so might as well do it.
If you believe Crawford is the most complete fighter in the world right now, hit that like button and let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Somebody that like I can bet the house on is Bud.
Who's the most skilled fighter today?
Bud is definitely one of them for sure. Me and him, we so much alike in our mentality. Like soon as I see this dude, he come in the room or I come in the room, we start arguing about basketball, wrestling, anything, bro. Like, man, you can't, man, you looking small. What you mean I'm looking small? You looking small. Like, it's just that, like, you gotta really hurt that dude to turn him away and to try to stop him from doing what he want to do. So skillful, yes, but this and this, it's different, man.
But Crawford's journey has also been deeply personal, shaped by the influence of his family. He often recalls how his father predicted that he would one day become an undisputed world champion, instilling a powerful belief in him from an early age. At the same time, his mother was skeptical, never fully convinced he would make it to the top. Instead of discouraging him, that doubt became his fuel. Each time he stepped into the ring, he carried with him the desire to prove her wrong, and with every win, he not only fulfilled his father's vision, but also won his mother's pride.
My dad used to tell my mom I was gonna be a world champ.
I told me we would be.
How'd that make you feel? It filled me with rage. And every time I stepped foot in the ring or anything that I ever did, I just wanted to win so bad so I can prove a point to her.
I paid the kids, I said, if y'all can whoop Bud, I give y'all $10 a piece. Couldn't whoop him.
You went out on the street.
Yeah.
What's now Bud Crawford Street.
Yeah.
And offered $10 to anyone who can kick my son's butt.
Yep.
And a lot of takers.
Yeah,
no one
kids
can
in
do
the
it.
neighborhood. Couldn't nobody whoop him.
What did he tell you then?
He told your mom, I told you I'm the best.
Looking at his career decisions, Crawford explained that he never sought to become undisputed at 154 pounds because he didn't see enough competitive fights in that division. To him, becoming undisputed isn't just about collecting belts, it's about doing so against the best opposition available. His refusal to move down shows his confidence in testing himself at higher weight classes, ensuring his career continues to be defined by risk-taking and ambition, rather than comfort and easy wins.
Has being undisputed at 154 ever crossed your mind at this point that you at in your career?
Not at all, because I'm looking at the landscape of the 154-pound division. There's a lot of great fighters, but there's not a lot of defining fights at 154. There's not a lot of legacy fights at 154. You know, when I'm looking at the landscape of 154, I beat, what's his name?
Majimov? No, 154?
No. The champion that just knocked out Tim Tszyu.
Oh, Bachram. Yeah.
Okay, so Bachram, they're going to say, who was Bachram?
Facts.
He knocked out Tim Tszyu that already had losses.
What would you name with Fedora, though?
But Fedora already been knocked out.
Yeah, he did.
So, along my career, I've been criticized and people have taken credit away from me just to try to diminish my accomplishments, just off of pure hate.
Crawford has also taken moments to show off the belts he has earned, not as empty bragging, but as a display of what years of dedication and hard work have brought him. Each belt represents not just a victory, but the struggles and sacrifices that came with it. They are proof of his effort, discipline, and unwavering belief in his own ability, and they serve as a powerful motivation for the next generation of fighters aiming to follow in his footsteps.
I'm just reflecting on all my accomplishments at my mama house. That's where all my belts at. You know, hard work, dedication. things that y'all favorite fighters, some of them, on down. So I see why y'all mad. See why y'all mad. Ooh, look at that one right there. This where it all started at. Right here. This one. In Texas. In Texas, baby. Don't hate. Just congratulate.
Virgil Ortiz Jr., a rising star himself, gave Crawford immense credit for his most recent performance, describing it as absolutely beautiful. He said that Crawford has done enough to prove himself completely and doesn't even need to chase any further opponents to validate his greatness. This admiration, coming from a young and ambitious fighter, shows just how deeply Crawford's dominance has impressed the new generation.
Perfect fight, actually. He neutralized all of Canelo's strengths. He knew that he was going to look for the right hook, because I believe that they've been looking at Crawford being hurt by that right hook before. So he neutralized it. He used his jab really well. He boxed beautifully. And, man, I mean, he did everything right. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Crawford first, because obviously we can get to Canelo later. But in the post-fight, they asked him, a media member asked him if he'd come back down to 154 to fight Boots. Obviously, in the same token, I took it as, all right, Boots or Virgil, right? And he said he's not coming back down to 154. What are your thoughts on him not coming down, and what do you think he will more than likely do next?
I don't know what he's gonna do. I did read something that said he'll go down to 160. You know, and I think that is definitely a possibility. And you know, that fight can still happen at 160. And as far as what he's gonna do now, I mean, I don't know. He kind of beat the final boss of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's kind of nothing. I don't want to say there's nothing to do, but damn, like, I mean, what else do you got to do? he's a 3-time undisputed champion. He made some good money. At this point, he's just a free player right now, I guess. He can do whatever he wants.
And that dominance has created a ripple effect, with fighters from different divisions now eager to call him out. Sebastian Fundora has already expressed his desire to face Crawford. This is what some are calling the Crawford effect. Once a fighter reaches this level of dominance, everyone wants to test themselves against him. Instead of Crawford chasing fights, fighters are now lining up to challenge him, highlighting just how much power and influence he currently holds.
Effect is in full effect, okay? It's in full effect. Terence Crawford now is a wanted man. Prior to that, everybody said Terence Crawford is not a draw. Terence Crawford can't sell. Terence Crawford is not a big money fight. Now, we have an interesting situation brewing. The former unified WBA, well, WBO, WBC, junior middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar or star boxer, the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora, refused to fight Terence Bud Crawford, who is now, no doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt, the pound for pound king, 4-division world champion, 5-division world champion, 3-division undisputed world champion, with a record of 42 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 wins by way of knockout. When Terence Crawford dominated and stopped The Truth, Errol Spence Jr., in July of 2023, Terence Crawford petitioned to move up and fight the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora, okay? And Sebastian Fundora has zero interest.
O'Shaquie Foster admitted that he was surprised by how Crawford silenced so many doubts surrounding his career. For years, critics claimed he hadn't faced enough top-tier opponents. However, his recent victories, especially over Canelo, proved that he could dominate even the most established champions. To Foster, Crawford's journey is a testament to his persistence, turning years of skepticism into undeniable respect.
Yeah, I mean, shit. They definitely doubted, bro. And he told me months ago that he was gonna do that. And he went and did that. That shit, you know what I mean? And they doubted him a lot throughout his career. You know what I mean? Just a lot, and just a lot of people that I look at that's great fighters. They've been doubted. You know what I mean? Same thing with Floyd. Floyd, they had the Oscar De La Hoyas, the Shane Mosleys, the Trinidad. They all was putting them above Floyd and all this woo woo. You know what I mean? So I just feel like getting doubted is a great thing. It gives me, you know what I mean, that push. So, yeah.
You think it would look that, I ain't gonna call it easy, but I felt like people didn't think that Crawford could do it that clean. Did that surprise you?
No. It did surprise me that he stayed more disciplined. Like, I thought what was gonna happen was he was gonna do what he was doing, and then, you know, Terence got hard. He trying to bang it out, especially if he feel played enough. He feel like you feel like you doing something, he gonna come with it tough. So I thought that was gonna be a problem. Like if Canelo landed a punch, he would try to go in the trenches with Canelo. And that's what I would have been scared for him for. But man, that boy stayed sharp all night, man. That boy looked good, man. I can't lie. He looked good. Sure. I was definitely surprised at how smooth, how easy he beat him.
Blair Cobbs and Conor Benn both shared strong reactions after his triumph. Cobbs praised the win as a defining moment, while Ben went as far as to say that Crawford should consider retiring now, leaving the sport on such a beautiful high note. To him, there is nothing left to prove. Crawford could walk away today and still be celebrated as one of the greatest ever.
To sail out on that beautiful sunset and retire. He's done a lot for the sport, and there's really not too much else that he can possibly do in the sport of boxing outside of make a beautiful retirement and leave a legacy of fighters that aspire to be just as great as Terence Crawford, like myself.
Has Canelo's legacy been damaged after that or not?
Not really. I think that Canelo is still a terrific and a fantastic athlete that's spent a little bit too much time at the table of boxing, and right now is his time to make his exit.
In another division, that's not the move. If he goes back down there, he's the best guy in that division. I think it's safe to say that. But I do think that a lot of those guys will be very interesting and potentially difficult style matchups for him. They'll be more difficult than a Canelo fight. And I know that sounds crazy to say, but just go and look at the fight with Madrimov if you don't believe me. Long story short, beating Canelo Alvarez doesn't mean that Crawford is unstoppable or unbeatable. Yes, he's one of the best fighters of this division, one of the best fighters ever with his achievements, but it doesn't mean he won't lose before the end if he fights the wrong guy. At the very least, it doesn't mean he won't have a harder fight than that Canelo fight. And to finish this video, do I think that he's better than Floyd Mayweather? Do I think now that he would beat Floyd Mayweather if they were to compete at 147? Well, I think Crawford at 147 is the best Terence Crawford in terms of his attributes, his style, and the strength and power he has at the weight. I think he's probably unbeatable at 147 in this era. It's because he's going up the weight style we're even having this conversation, to be honest with you. But I do think he's an all-time great. I do think he's in the conversation, which is the best you can do, because we can't definitively say who beats who in a fantasy match. That's why I really don't like them. I've been asked a few of them recently, and I just, without studying and then without actually getting the chance to see it, I just don't really like going there. But we'll do it at the end of this video anyway. It's definitely a conversation to have whether or not he's better than Floyd Mayweather, because he's done it without these rehydration clauses. He's done it. He hasn't really cherry-picked, although I would say, to be fair, to look at Crawford's record, he has fought a lot of guys where it's been the very end of their career at welter. You know, Sean Porter, Amir Khan, Kell Brook, they're all great names, but none of them were in their prime anymore. But Crawford did it so emphatically, and the way he beat Errol Spence as well. Again, he'd had his issues, but again, the way he did it so emphatically, the way he passes the eye test every single time, you have to assume that he's going to do it no matter who he's facing. I do think a fight between him and Mayweather would have been very, very difficult to call.
But not everyone agrees with the narrative of invincibility. Some analysts argue that beating Canelo, as monumental as it was, does not automatically mean that Crawford is beyond defeat. They point out that the boxing landscape is filled with other highly talented fighters who could potentially outclass him under the right circumstances. For them, Crawford's victory is historic but not absolute. Boxing remains unpredictable, and even the best can be tested. This perspective serves as a reminder that while Crawford has reached incredible heights, the sport always offers new threats, ensuring that the debate around his place in history will continue. Stay tuned.